Hi everybody and welcome to Observing with Webb on YouTube. June is the end of the month. Sorry, end of the school year. Right up there. Count down the days and it's kind of exciting. But that also made me late in actually doing this. So my apologies for being a little bit late. But June is not much of an exciting month. Really not much going on. But there are 4 planets that you can see throughout the night. So let's talk about that. So the planets, if you take a look, I set it for June 16th. That's the middle of the month, and I have everything up there. We're facing basically south, and what you see is Jupiter is over here in the west, Mars is up here in the southwest, and Saturn is over here in the south. Let's go a little bit later. Let's go like 9 o'clock might be the first time that you might be able to see it because of dawn. And you see Jupiter actually goes away pretty quickly. By 9:30, it's pretty low on the horizon, so it's kind of tough to see. But Jupiter will be out pretty much until 10 p.m. Look west after sunset and find that visibly very, very bright star right next to Gemini over here. Not that you'll be able to see Gemini, but it'll be very bright over here. The other planet that is up in the sky, one of the other planets, is Mars. It's actually pretty easy to see. I even saw it from a backyard in Philly over the weekend. And Mars is probably one of the first stars that's going to come out. Look in the southwest after sunset. Or, if time goes by and you're looking in the morning, you can look more toward the west before like 2 a.m. and you'll still see Mars. But let's go back to about 9:30. Mars is in the southwest, and yeah, it's visibly red. It's hanging out in Virgo. You've got the bright star Arcturus right there that you can find. I'm sorry, Spica, the brightest star in Virgo. So there's Mars, and next to that over here is Saturn. It's hanging out in Libra, the scales over there. So if you look after well, say 9:30, 10 o'clock, it's off in the south. Good one to find because it'll be out until about 3 a.m. when it sets. And yeah, take out your binoculars and see if you can find the ears or the rings of Saturn around it, which is very neat to see. Let me zoom out a little bit, and you'll see the motion of the planets and the stars throughout the night. And you'll notice that Mars and Saturn move to the right, and so do all of the other constellations. They move west. Mars goes away. Saturn sets around 3 a.m. And then the only interesting thing will be off in the east. Okay, zoom in a little bit. And let's see, right at about... Oh, there it is. Around 4:30, after 4 a.m., you'll see Venus rising in the east. And Venus will be very bright again, and by the morning it'll be about 20 degrees above the horizon. That's about... Hold your arm out and put your bottom of your fist on the horizon, and then put another fist on top. That distance, don't know if you can see, that distance is about 20 degrees if you hold your hand out at arm's length. It'll be very bright, and yeah, very cool. So anyway, basically, you have Jupiter, Mars, and Saturn around sunset. Take a look again. Jupiter, Mars, and Saturn. And then if you're looking more towards sunrise, look toward the east, and you'll find Venus over there. Those are the planets that you can see this month. Now, sometimes they're hard to find. However, we can use the moon as our guide, and the moon can be our guide through the rest of the events for the month. So let's go do that. Let's go with June 1st, and let's go to sunset, because that's right when the night starts. And, oh, look, if you were looking on the 1st, Jupiter and the moon are actually fairly close to each other. Okay, but the 1st is past, so let's ignore that and move on. So what you'll see, if you see the moon over there, is every night the moon will get thicker and thicker until the 5th, which is when it is a first quarter moon. And the first quarter moon is when the right half is lit up. You can see it basically from sunset until about midnight. Midnight is when it will set. And then 2 days later, Mars and the moon are going to be close to each other. It's going to be a gibbous moon right about here, and Mars will be above it by about 2 degrees, which is pretty neat to see. So if you're trying to find Mars and having trouble, go out on the 7th and use the moon as your guidepost. Now, 3 days later, let's go to the 10th. The moon and Saturn will be close together. And just look to the southeast after sunset. Okay. Southeast after sunset. And you can see a gibbous moon, and Saturn's going to be about 4 degrees up and to the right. Now, if we finally, there you go. That's about how far apart they will look in the sky. And actually, if you're in the southern tip of southern Africa, you might actually see Saturn be eclipsed. Okay, occulted is the better word, but occulted by the moon. And that would be really cool if anybody listened to this video or watched this video in southern Africa. So, and I doubt that's happening, but who knows? Maybe. But anyway, so the full moon turns out to be on the 13th. And as you can see, with the full moon, you can basically see it from sunset and into sunrise. Oops. Okay. So that's a full moon there. And literally nothing exciting happens for the next week. If I go to the 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, and on the 19th is when we have the last quarter moon. This is when the moon is only visible after midnight and is often visible into the morning, depending on how bright it is. And then, let's see, 19th and 2 more days. Oh, 21st, summer solstice. It's the longest day of the year in the Northern Hemisphere. And if you go to my Podbean page, you will actually see a link to an explanation of why it is the longest day of the year. But that's a whole nother story. Then let's go, let's get close to sunrise. Oh, there's Venus down there. And if you followed the pattern, the moon will get thinner and thinner and closer to Venus until the 24th. So if you look on the 24th, the moon will be about here and Venus will be here, not too far away. In fact, according to my notes, about 2 degrees to the left of the moon. And actually, the Pleiades are hanging up here. It might be hard to see in the dawn, but if you get up early, you might be able to catch the Pleiades and Venus and the moon rising up on the morning of the 24th. Now, also, if you've been watching the pattern, see the moon is still up here. The moon will get closer to the sun until the 26th, I guess technically the 27th, you have a new moon, which means that, oh, the moon's going to be switching to an evening object. So let's go to sunset on the 29th. So the new moon is on the 27th. And then on the 29th, if you're good, you might be able to see a very thin crescent moon and a very dim Jupiter over in the west. But that is like right after sunset. Let's see, sunset is technically at 8:38. It's going to be tough to see, but you might be able to do it on the 29th of June. And that is really it for planets and the moon. Let me talk real quick about the constellations for those of you who like more of the visuals. So let's go back to the middle of June. Let's go 16th. And let's face the zenith. Let's look straight up. And what will we find? Well, let's say after sunset. Let's go 9:30 when it's starting, or let's go 10 o'clock. You can see the Big Dipper is up here if you're looking straight up. But really you're looking at Bootes, the shepherd, or otherwise known as the ice cream cone. And one way you can find it is if you know the Big Dipper, which is easy to find, 7 bright stars, follow the arc of the handle and follow the arc to Arcturus, which is the brightest star in Bootes. And let's see. Oh, let's go further. Let's go to midnight. Oh, there it is. Hercules is up straight above you. You see the keystone shape here. Almost a square, but not quite. And also in Hercules, if you zoom in with binoculars, you can see this faint little fuzzy, which is the Hercules cluster. And if you zoom in a bit more, you can actually see really cool stuff about the Hercules cluster. It is about 250 light years away, 250,000 light years away, which is really, really far. But you can see it with your binoculars. And then if you're looking really early in the morning, let's say like 4 a.m., you can see the summer constellations of Lyra, Cygnus, and Aquila, which make up a triangle, the summer triangle, which is an asterism. Okay. And they're up in the morning, which means summer is coming along. We're about to get there. But that's if you're looking straight up, which can get a little confusing. Let's look at some other constellations. In fact, let's go back to sunset and go a little bit after sunset, and let's look to the west. Okay, you can see some spring constellations still. So find the Big Dipper, which is in the north, and what you can do is look at the handle, and starting at the star. Take a look here. Starting at this star right here. Okay. Follow the arc, like I said before, follow the arc of the handle to Arcturus. And that's where you find Bootes, the shepherd. But if you go a little bit further, if you follow the arc to Arcturus and speed on to Spica, right here, that is the bright star Spica, which is the brightest star in Virgo. And also Mars is in that area as well. Virgo's a dimmer constellation, so it's kind of hard to find, but it's really worth it if you get a chance. Now, what else you could do is look to the left of this, to the left of Bootes, and you'll find Corona Borealis. And I don't know why the rest of this isn't connected, but there's a nice little C cup shape in the sky. Small collection of stars. I think it's one of the prettiest spring constellations. So you can follow the arc to Arcturus. To the left of that is Corona Borealis, and then there's Hercules up here. And again, look into the keystone of Hercules. Ooh. And you can find the Hercules cluster right there. With binoculars, it's really cool. With a telescope, it's even better. With a big telescope, it's even better. And let's say you're looking at night, and you're looking toward the east. In the east, you'll start seeing, as the night passes by, Cygnus, Lyra, and Aquila rising up. And, lastly, if we look to I believe it's in the west. If you look to the west, you will see Leo the lion. And the great thing to do here is to look for the backward question mark, or sickle, and the corresponding right triangle over here. And that is the constellation of Leo the lion. And it is the first spring constellation. And you see it's starting to set a little bit earlier. That means we're getting out of spring. So those are the constellations for the month of June. One last look. Let's go for 10 o'clock, around 10:30 at night. In the north, you'll see the Big Dipper is coming down, and you can follow the arc to Arcturus. Ursa Minor, or the Little Dipper, is facing up. Draco is surrounding its prey, surrounding the Little Dipper, and turning back for a U-turn look to keep an eye on the Big Dipper. And then there's Cepheus and Cassiopeia down here, which are probably going to be tough to see. Cassiopeia, even though it's brighter, is close to the horizon. And Cepheus is dimmer, but further from the horizon, so they'll probably be just as hard to see. But anyway, those are the constellations for the night sky of June. I wish you very clear and dark skies for this month, and I hope to hear from you.